Hello everybody, this is SeetherCord here, and welcome to a new video for you guys today. For today's video, we're going to be talking about my opinions about the furry community and like furries just in general, and how they fare up in competition compared to other big communities online. And by other big communities online, I mean like communities where, you know, they're a little bit more on the cringy side, you know, people typically don't like them, just like furries for the most part. Yeah, if you're a furry and you struggle with like feeling insecure, like, oh, my friends online won't like me because I'm a furry, and furries are the most hated people on the internet, well, furries are definitely up there in terms of being disliked online generally, and then also in regular everyday culture. But we're not the only ones. There's a couple other communities online that are typically seen as also kind of cringe, or, you know, people are usually degenerates. So it's time for us to really compare and contrast with other kind of communities online, and just, I'll give my take on how we kind of fare up against them, and also give you a little bit more comfort with being a furry, like, hey, we're not the only people online that people typically dislike. So that's a good thing. Now, before we get into this video, let me let you guys know we're not going to be talking about P files or Z files because they're hated pretty much all over the world. So, and online in general, it's kind of like a no-brainer. So we're not going to be covering them, but we're going to be covering more communities where they're technically nothing bad with them, but people just generally don't like them for being like weird or annoying. So with that all being discussed and out of the way, let's now begin with furries versus every other fandom online. The first community we're going to be faring up furries against is the Rick and Morty community, or basically fans of the Adult Swim show Rick and Morty. Now, I myself have seen all 4 seasons. I've watched every episode. Pretty good show overall. Won't deny that season 4 wasn't really that good in my opinion, and I've gotten kind of tired of the show. And I won't deny I've never really had a show make me not want to watch it anymore because of directly its fan base and how kind of annoying the fan base can be. The reason I typically find them kind of annoying is because of one, going a little bit too hyperbolistic over a Szechuan sauce being sold at McDonald's for a limited time. Another reason is because of like how condescending their fan base can be. You know, we all know about that whole like post that was on like Yahoo Answers or something about how you need to have a 200 plus IQ to understand the intelligent humor of Rick and Morty and how subtle it is, which if you've ever watched any episode of Rick and Morty, you know that it's not that subtle of a show. Plus, it's also a show that kind of, you know, panders a little bit to the incel community online, but I'll get into that a little bit later. Thank you very much. So yeah, the Rick and Morty community is definitely a reason for why we should encourage birth control and higher sex education in schools. But on another note, the community is really annoying to me with how forceful they can be at times. They're very cringy with their sense of humor, and also the show itself can be kind of tiresome at times, but overall, show's okay. Fan base don't really like them that much, but in comparison to furries, furries are a little bit more on the tame side. I can tolerate them a little bit more, even though I am a furry. But yeah, furries typically tend to seem a little bit nicer than Rick and Morty are. But that's just my take. Before we go into the next one, you can kind of see how when you fare compared to a lot of these other communities, being a furry has been around longer than most of them that I'm about to list off. So you kind of like see like the typical furry online, at least in comparison to these other communities members. Being a furry is kind of like an elderly wise man, like I know the ways of being a cringy community online kind of thing. You know, furries have been around a little bit long. You know, I go like back to like mid 2000s, hell, maybe even like the early 2000s or late 90s, who knows? Whenever the internet was a thing, you know, message boards. The next community of people I want to talk about comparing them to furries is the My Little Pony fans. You know, the fans of the My Little Pony cartoon that are typically, you know, like old men and everything. You know, the bronies and everything, and, you know, the female ones, the Pegasisters, you know. My girlfriend's a little bit more into My Little Pony than I could be, so a lot of, like, my general knowledge of the community and the show comes from her and everything. And again, if you just like the show, then that's fine. If you enjoy animation, typically I can tell, like, you know, people might be into that, or if they have, like, children or so. And hell, even if you're an elderly man, or if you're, like, a middle-aged dude, or if you're, like, a 20-something-year-old guy, if you like the show, then whatever. But I kind of noticed that, like, bronies are way more expressive about their interest in My Little Pony than furries typically are being furries. And it's a little bit more strange and weird when it revolves around just a show that was made instead of, like, being a furry. Because being a furry is a little bit more creative than just one TV show. You know, you can spawn stuff from a TV show, but, like, I don't know. It makes sense, and it's kind of harder to, like, really compare it to furries because the pony community is, like, kind of dead at this point because their show ended like a while ago. So they're kind of like fallen out. And also, every kind of My Little Pony fan I've met is a little bit more on the stranger side than most other furries that I've met. And heck, even furries that I know that are kind of like weird to me are definitely more tame than the My Little Pony fans that I've met that are really weird. Plus, there's a lot more videos of bronies doing really cringy and embarrassing stuff than furries are. You know, like the number one video I can think of is like the video where a bunch of bronies went to a Pizza Hut and they bothered the girls working there to draw their My Little Pony figurines on the pizza boxes and all. So, yeah, again, encouraging birth control and higher sex education. The next group of people online I'm going to talk about to compare it to furries are Undertale fans. You know, the great game made by Toby Fox. Now, let me just say beforehand, Undertale, pretty solid game. Toby Fox, amazingly talented guy, pretty cool dude from what I've heard. Really confident guy, great job he made the game. All the people that worked on Undertale with him, his little team, they're also pretty cool. Love the artist that did all the artwork, or was the main head artist for the game also. I don't remember her name. I'll put it on the screen now. But the fan base for Undertale is something I can personally relate to because I was a pretty diehard Undertale fan back when I first played the game in 2018. And I just think back to like my really hyper Undertale like fanboyism, and I'm just kind of like, I was just so obsessed with it. If you look at my fucking, what was it, like my 4,000 or 5,000 subscriber special, I just talk about Undertale for like 50, 60 minutes when nobody wanted that. But I did it anyway, and I delayed making videos for 3 weeks because I made this huge-ass freaking project that got virtually no views. But, you know, I've lost interest in Undertale. I definitely like Deltarune Chapter 1. I think Chapter 2 is still on delay a little bit, but I can wait, and I'll definitely play Chapter 2 once it comes out. But in terms of Undertale as a game, I won't deny that at one point I was like, Undertale is my favorite game, and Undertale is one of the greatest games ever made by humans. And I'm like, it's not. It's a good game, but it's not one of the best ever made. But it's a good game with a good like moral message of how important your choices are with things and what pathway you take in life and everything. But the problem with the fan base is that, again, you're going to have a little bit of the mixture of the DeviantArt community, you know, the Flipagram people that download that app that do like those compilations with the copyrighted music and their favorite characters drawn with fan art and everything. I can't freaking tell you how much freaking porn of these characters are out there. Oh my freaking god. Even for a furry, even for myself as a furry, I'm like, that's too much porn. Oh god. But still, you know, I kind of don't like there being Rule 34 art of skeletons in sexual ways, but it's a thing, apparently. I don't know how there can be overweight skeletons, but that's also a thing. On a more serious note, there's a lot of serious issues when it comes to certain Undertale fans. I bet the average Undertale fan's fine, but they can be really annoying. They're typically a little bit on the younger side, typically like 14, 15-year-old maybe. I'm thinking even like 13 or 12, but you know, the thing that's really screwed up is I heard about the one story about this one Undertale fan that went to this convention and they didn't like the fact that there was an artist there that did shipping art where they shipped two characters as like a couple in the game that weren't actually a couple, and they didn't like that ship, so they gave them like, I think it was a cookie or something like that, and they put like a needle in the cookie, and the person took a bite of the cookie, the artist, and their tongue started bleeding and they had to go and get like stitches for it and go to the hospital and everything. I'm not even exaggerating. Like, this is a real thing. You know, just again, birth control and higher sex education, guys. But yeah, furries again fare pretty well compared to Undertale fans. FNaF, Five Nights at Freddy's, is a community of people online that exist. Five Nights at Freddy's is definitely a community that is kind of like Undertale in terms of hate online and how they act, but you go like backwards maybe like 4 or 5 years. So instead of having like 13 to 14-year-olds obsess over it, you're getting like 9 or 10-year-olds obsessing with it. And that's because you had freaking YouTubers like Markiplier and Jacksepticeye and PewDiePie play through that game back when it was first popular. And then a bunch of like 9 and 10-year-olds started watching it on their parents' iPads and crap. So they got overly obsessed with it, and they make really cringy and weird fan fiction and do really shitty artwork. Again, it's like as if a furry had a kid, and that kid doesn't know if they want to be a furry or not either, so they just hook on to FNaF. I don't know. So yeah, I just kind of overall view FNaF fans as being like furries on crack a little bit, but also like younger, because again, you know, 9-10-year-olds hyperactive, they're essentially on crack, aka sugar. But the next group of people I'm going to talk about online that's fares pretty well compared to furries, at least in terms of age and in terms of how long they've been online, are ICP / Electric Juggalo fans, which if you don't know about ICP or Electric Juggalos, you probably will know them from that old internet meme with that song that was like, fucking magnets, how do they work? Kind of thing like that, with the weird like clown face paint thing. And I won't deny, it looks pretty cool, but then you hear about like some of the stuff they do and you kind of get that weird early 2000s like hardcore punk emo vibe that has kind of died out now. But still, like, at the same time, it's just, you have like teenagers that like post these really cringy videos of themselves like shirtless with these like face paint on like ICP, and they're like, we are Electric Juggalos, we're fucking hardcore, man. You know, we get in our cars and we get like a freaking golf club or a baseball bat and we like smash mailboxes and shit. So it's like, it's not typically as cringy as a lot of these other communities. They're not really as toxic, but more so, it's not really like something where they do a lot of cringy stuff online. They kind of do it in the real world a little bit more. And again, that has to do same with furries, because they're kind of an older community before being online was such a prevalent thing. And it wasn't really a big prevalent thing in the early 2000s. It was just a little bit, and we kind of did more cringy stuff in the real world instead of like online. So again, Electric Juggalo is a little bit more tame compared to like most of these others. And I would say it's on the same level of like hate as like furries, to where like people think it's cringy, but people are like, oh, I don't care anymore, you know? The next community online I'm going to crap on, I'm going to be really short with this, is Minecraft and Roblox. These are very, very young people that are online. And these are typically like 6-7-year-olds, so a little bit younger than FNaF, you know? They typically are very influenced by these YouTubers that play Minecraft or Roblox, that are like these, you know, 20-somethings that play it for them, and they get like a crap ton of ad revenue. And then these kids basically go online and play it a little bit also. And actually, no, I could be a little bit wrong. I do see some people on my Discord server that are about 14, 15 that play Roblox, and don't get me wrong, like Minecraft and Roblox are genuinely good games if you play them a little bit. They have a really strong community online, but I won't deny that you have some of those fans that are just, what the fuck, you know? And it's mostly in the YouTube scene, like, hey guys, welcome to part 5 of my like Minecraft Let's Play on YouTube. And it's like, they're a little bit more tame, but again, it's just YouTube cringe, you know? They don't really do anything dangerous on message boards or anything. The last group of people I'm going to talk about online that fares up to furries in terms of like how cringy they are and how unlikable they are online for the general public, and that is anime fans. Okay, phone. And that is anime fans, or aka otakus. Now, if you don't know what anime is, if you live under a rock, it's essentially animated cartoons that are from Japan, predominantly. You know, there's some other countries where that happens. You know, there's like some French anime, there's some Chinese anime, but most of the hype of these types of animations come from Japan. It's a little bit more realistic in terms of like anatomy and such. The thing with otakus, and this has to be probably like the king, furries are nowhere near the level of like, you know, despised online as it is like anime fans and otakus, in my opinion. I'm not saying they're necessarily bad people. I have some friends that are pretty cool guys that are into anime and everything like that, and they're cool. And the problem with them is not necessarily that they're harmful, but to me, they're the more cringy types. They're a little bit more incel-y, and it kind of reflects their personality a little bit more, because with the way that anime portrays girls and women, in my opinion, it gives them this unrealistic way to view dating and everything. And that's typically where you get the stereotype where you have all these white dudes that watch anime and then they want either like an Asian or Japanese girlfriend, because anime stereotypes them as being like very submissive and all cute, like, oh, cat girls made outfits, I'll do everything you want for the guy, kind of thing. And so they strive on just getting like a Japanese girlfriend and everything, because they assume that like, oh, she'll just be submissive and do everything I want. And that's just kind of a reflection of their own insecurities, and they don't want to work on themselves. And so that's why they're typically not making it work out and everything. It's just, that's the more kind of like destructive kind of community online. I'm not saying that anime is not good. I'm watching K-On! Right now, and I've watched a lot of great anime, and I like it. It's just, you know, it's interesting how like some anime fans have kind of like built up this kind of personality with it too, to where it's not necessarily dangerous to the public, but it just kind of hurts themselves, and it's just really cringy and kind of sad. So again, it's just kind of sad and everything, and it kind of feeds the whole incel community thing, like where, oh, I can't get a girlfriend because all these girls these days are just too independent and everything. And I'm just like, be confident and appreciate yourself and work on yourself, and a girl will naturally come to you, and it'll just take time, like for real. But anyways, that's enough with my ranting and all for today. That's pretty much how furries, in my opinion, fare up compared to the rest of these communities online. And I really want to know your guys' take on that. So that's going to pretty much wrap up this video for you guys today about how furries face up against every other big kind of hated community online. How do you guys feel about these communities facing up against furries? Do you think some of them are more cringy or more likable or have stronger aspects to them than furries? Do they not? Let me know down in the comment section down below. If you enjoy my content and want to further help out my channel, please consider donating to me on Patreon as well as my coffee. Remember to smash the like button, turn on that notification bell, and subscribe all together. Make sure to check out the main gaming channel known as SeetherCord Games and the no commentary gaming channel known as Seether Chills. All of that will be linked down in the description down below. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I've been SeetherCord, and I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye, everyone. Now I'm starting to think about like cat girls and like little maid outfits like an anime and everything, and it's just making me feel a little bit uncomfortable right now because it makes me think to like the otaku thing, like, you know. Anyways, see you guys next time. Later, guys. This music playing in the background, so yeah. Ow. He stole my hat! The pelican stole my hat, or whatever bird that is. The bald eagle? I don't know.